Well, if you're a hair puller, you know what it's like. So much of your time is spent either pulling or struggling not to. Now, there are lots of reasons why this might be. We could go through an entire list of them here, but I'm not going to do that right now. These are all topics for other videos. And of course, please do be sure to like and subscribe to our channel so you can be notified when we add those videos. Meantime, you know what I am going to do? I'm going to reveal to you the #1 reason we've discovered our clients find it difficult to stop pulling, at least before meeting us. You know what's interesting? I'm virtually certain this reason won't even have been conscious to you. You almost certainly won't even have had any conscious idea that this is what's been going on. Thus, the particularly insidious nature of this incredibly powerful block to your recovery. But once I share with you what it is, once I tell you about the #1 reason you haven't stopped pulling yet, and we talk about it for a bit, I think you're absolutely going to be able to relate to where I'm coming from. Have I got your attention? Think this video might be worth watching? Well, stay tuned. In a moment, I'm going to reveal to you the #1 reason you haven't stopped pulling yet. Okay, so if you ask people who've been challenged with hair pulling for any length of time why they're still pulling, well, you'll hear lots of different reasons. Over the many years we've been doing this work here at the TRS, my guess is we've probably heard just about all of them. I can't help it. I don't realize I'm doing it when I'm doing it. Once I start, I can't stop. Why haven't I stopped yet? Yeah, easy for you to say, right? On and on. Do you know some people will actually tell us that they enjoy it, and that's why they haven't stopped pulling yet. Yet interestingly, these are the very same people that call us and beg us to help find some way to help them stop pulling. Now, to be clear, I'm not disputing that all these things feel like very valid, very real reasons why a person might feel like she hasn't been able to stop pulling yet. But for example, just on the face of it, is it really that you can't not reach up and pull hair out of your head? Is it really why you're still pulling? Think about it for a second. Surely there have been times in your life when you have to admit you wanted to pull, you were really tempted to pull, but for whatever reason, maybe whatever was going on around you at the time, you didn't. You found a way to not do it. Am I right about this? So let's set aside the question of ability to not pull. I think that at least on some level you realize that under certain circumstances, you can indeed help it and do help it when you need to. And yet you don't always make that decision. Why not? Again, there can be multiple reasons for this, but what's the #1 reason you haven't stopped? Quite simply, it's fear. Yeah, fear that you'll have to endure feelings of stress, anxiety, or overwhelm without having hair pulling as a crutch to lean on at times like that. Fear that you'll be unable to focus or concentrate without it. Fear that you won't be able to enjoy your relaxation time, your me time, anywhere near as much without it. Fear that if you do wake up one day and decide, you know what, you're going to put your foot down today, you're going to put your foot down on this, and you're really going to do your best to stop pulling, that means you're going to have to endure some extended period of misery, deprivation, and unsatisfied urges before you might really be able to put this thing behind you. Any of this ringing a bell? Some people fear their very personality, their very character will change. But you know what the biggest fear of all is? That's the fear that once a hair puller, always a hair puller. That no matter what you do, no matter how much you might be willing to sacrifice in order to finally get control of this thing, that you'll never actually be able to achieve true freedom, and that while you may have stopped pulling for a while, you'll spend the rest of your life struggling against the unrelenting urge to pull. If, as so many of our clients have, you've spent years trying to stop pulling and you've been through all kinds of therapy and you've tried all the conventional methods, only to find that no matter what, it still required massive, even inhuman amounts of willpower to try to stay free of this stuff, you'll not only be affected by this fear, but you'll also be convinced that you could never actually become genuinely free of this behavior. If you felt a degree of apprehension about the prospect of trying to stop pulling, or if you've been feeling that, the time may not be right, like right now, for you to stop pulling, then let me assure you, your apprehension is caused by fear. And here's the important point. That fear is not relieved by pulling your hair, but in fact created by it. Okay, so to the truth now. The truth is, more than anything else, hair pulling has remained a crutch for you only because you haven't yet given yourself the chance to discover that you can actually be quite okay without it. In fact, not only can you be quite okay without it, your life will be far richer, far more enjoyable, far more stress-free than it ever is these days, with a scourge of what feels like uncontrollable trichotillomania hanging over your head every single day. To the extent this fear we're talking about ultimately comes down to the belief that you'll be giving something up if you were to get rid of it, understand now that in fact you'll be gaining immeasurably more than you ever had while you were still trapped in the fear-driven cycle of hair pulling. You'll be gaining not only freedom from the hair pulling behavior itself and all that that means, like getting your hair back, but a renewed sense of what it means to be alive. No longer will you feel like a slave to this fear that hair pulling controls you. No longer will perhaps hours of your day be monopolized not only by the hair pulling itself, but in addition to that, of course, the daily thoughts about hair pulling. Those many minutes, sometimes hours, caught up in the tension-filled struggle to not allow yourself to pull when another part of you certainly wants to. You'll have way more time, way more energy available to you now to do the kinds of things you want to be doing instead of spending all that time struggling to avoid something you know you really don't. Bottom line, a life that is controlled by fear is quite an unfulfilling experience. And the good news is, it's not necessary to live that way, not at all. A life that's controlled by fear is really being controlled by a series of unresourceful thoughts and imaginations, usually of things that haven't even happened yet. And that kind of thinking is really nothing more than a bad habit. And yet, habits can change. You can train yourself to start thinking more resourcefully. You can train yourself through practice to more automatically consider what could go wonderfully right in these various situations instead of what could go terribly wrong. Yeah? Those are the kind of habits that can help develop a mindset of positive expectancy. And that can lead to your willingness to try new things, to take chances that you might not have been willing to take before, and in general, to put yourself in a position where life now has the potential to be everything you once hoped it could be, but maybe you'd forgotten about in the fog of this challenge with hair pulling. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please go ahead and smash that like button, and please do subscribe to our channel. We'd love to be able to notify you when we have new content, more helpful videos coming your way. And you know what? Go ahead and hit that reply button below and leave us a comment. Talk to us. How did this video impact you? If you're watching this video on our Facebook community page, please leave a comment there. We'd love to meet and chat with you. In fact, if you have questions about trichotillomania or hair pulling in general and you're not quite sure where to go for answers, well, please visit our website at www.trick-free.com. You'll see a Contact Us link at the upper right of all of our web pages. We do actually look through all the questions that come into us very carefully, just like we do to all the comments and questions that show up here at our YouTube channel. And we do our best to answer as many of those questions in these very videos as possible. Again, please do be sure to like and subscribe. We're here to entertain, inform, and most importantly, to empower you to begin taking control of your hair pulling in ways you probably never imagined possible before. If you'd like to reach out to us directly to get some information about how we can help you or a loved one, feel free to visit our website at www.trick-free.com. If you'd like, you can write to us at relief@trick-free.com, and you can also call us at any time of day or night toll-free at 833-TRICK-FREE. Thanks again for watching. I'm Robert Mantell with the Trichotillomania Relief Specialist. Here's wishing you an amazing trick-free week.